Hello everyone. We're going to cover staff today. So the root of our flow process is our 2-beat weave, our wax on, wax off, our figure 8. So that's where we're going to be starting today. We'll be starting with one staff, we'll introduce two staffs, and then we'll do some flow play. Okay, so we have an imaginary staff when we're holding our hand. The staff is coming out in the direction of our thumb and the direction of our pinky. So we can lead our staff around and move our imaginary staff with our hand and do the action already. Leading with the thumb, following the infinity sign and tracing it, or leading with our pinky and following the infinity sign and tracing it. An underhand throw, an underhand poi, an underhand 2-beat, an overhand outward cascade 2-beat. All these flow activities all merge with each other and cross-relate. Okay, now we're going to do that with our staff. We'll dial down for a second. We'll just do tick-tocks like we did in poi. Letting the bottom of our staff tick and tock. We're holding a little bit higher, so that way it has a pendulum effect and it wants to rotate at its own speed. Or if I hold it in the middle, I'm kind of more in control of its action, because when it gets here it wants to balance. When it gets here it wants to balance. It's balanced at all spots, where when you're holding high it's unbalanced and you're just pumping it a little bit to keep the action going. And then we're going to start with a general rotation. Okay, and we can move that general rotation again around our body, our windmill. I'm doing pinky to pinky, pinky to pinky. You can grab it anywhere you want. As you grab it in different spots, your hand may move around the staff, where the pinky to pinky, where you're trying to swap hand position. Even if you're not grabbing it in the right spot, if you're trying to swap hand position, you maintain that center grip. Okay, so our windmill in different directions. And in our last video, in our poi video, we talked about the cardinal directions and directional perspective. We're going to cover that again real fast. So here's our clockwise rotation for you. And for me, it's counterclockwise right now. And when it opens up, there's a little door right there, and I can step through and keep the spin going. And now it's clockwise for you still, and clockwise for me. So it's more about the cardinal directions. Whatever directions you claim, I can just claim trees over there, or I can claim east, west, north, south. So it's rising to the east and dropping to the west, versus rising to the west and dropping to the east. Or rising north, dropping south. Dropping north, rising south. It's really like perspective. Is it rising here to the east? You know, this is all things that you have to claim for yourself. You can use my descriptions where you can generate yours. It's rising to the east, dropping to the west, rising or dropping to the north, or it could be rising to the north. It's which side of the arc are you looking at? So determining those perspectives for yourself. But I'll be using terminology. Hopefully it stays consistent and we can follow along. Once we have that rotation in a lot of our planes, side plane, front plane, side plane, in the different directions, transverse, going around our body, keeping it flat and going around our body, we can start doing our 2-beat weave. So we're going to identify our thumb side, and we're going to carry that up and over, down, and back to the starting position. Okay, so here's our starting position. Holding our staff, and bring it up to the center. We have that position over here too. Okay, we're rising the thumb side up, dropping, and it's back. Up and drop, and it's back. There's our 2-beat weave. And I can take the bottom and I can rise it up and drop it, rise it up and drop it. And there's my underhand 2-beat weave. Okay, same as poi, where I can hold it with both hands and do the action, because both actions are the same, just being held and pumped in a sense by a different arm. Okay, and I can stay for extra weaves or extra windmills before I come back. Now we're going to start weaving over the arm. So I'm going to take it over and then back, over and then back in our 2-beat. Our 1, drop 2, 1, drop 2. I can also do that on my front plane. 1, tuck back, 1, tuck back. I consider this kind of putting in your sword. Then you're dropping back to your home position. So you have home, sword, home. We're leading with our top, or I can lead with the bottom. When you're leading with the bottom, you don't really reach that same home position or that same sword position. You get there slightly, right there, but it's less distinct. Okay, so over the arm again. And this time we're going to come back and underneath. So just like in our poi video, when we're there, we can come and stay for that extra rotation in the palm. The arm doesn't want to rotate the same way without a tuck here, so we have to do this arm tuck to get a 3rd beat in. So let's show that arm tuck real quick. I like it better on the front plane. Feels a little more natural. And there's 2 tucks. There's one on each side of the spin. So up here, I can do an arm tuck. Right now I'm facing my east. I've rotated my chest. I'm doing my overhand 2-beat. When I open up, that's the 2-beat I'm doing on my front plane. And then when I hit my front, I'm letting it stay for an extra rotation, land on my forearm, and I'm carrying it back and releasing it back into home, and then going back into my 2-beat. That's adding a 3rd beat. We're just counting the head right now. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we'll add in the 4th beat on the backhand side. So it's 3, 1, and we're going to stay, and we're going to tuck it into our armpit, and now we're carrying the bottom over, letting it release. And we'll stay in our 2-beat with the 3rd tuck in the back. So we stay and come back. Tuck, stay, and come back. When we put them all together, we stay, unwind, tuck, unwind, land, unwind, tuck, and that's our 4. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then we have that in both directions. So I can be going overhand here, or I can lead with the pinky forward. And now my forearm's going to be on the back, and my under the armpit is going to be on the front. And so I learned that 4-beat on both sides. Then I do it on my left arm as well. 2-beat overhand, 2-beat underhand, over the arm 2-beat, under the arm 2-beat, side plane turn 2-beat, open up the chest for front plane, overhand, side plane turn underhand, open up the chest for side plane underhand, or for front plane underhand. Start doing your lands, underhand land, carry to the front, shoulder, carry to the back. Okay, overhand, what we learned first, it stays, we carry it back into our 2. It stays, we tuck, carry it, back into our 2. We mix both together, stay, tuck, carry, land, carry, stay, tuck, carry, land, tuck, carry. So do our 4, underhand and overhand, remembering that the land is going to be on the other side, carry, tuck. So now we have our 2 beat, 3 beat, and 4 beat on our side planes. We could have also jumped right to this. We're going to do a 2 beat together here. So I'm going to do my 2 beat while holding the other. Stationary, 2 beat holding the other. I'm going to follow each other. 2 beat, reverse. And then I'm going to weave them. So under, over, and back. Just like the 2 beat in poi. Under, over, and back. Under, over, and back. Cycling. And then if we add a hand rotation, we can stay for an extra beat and do our 3 beat. It's a little bit extra. I just recommend staying at that 2. And then doing it on your side plane is even a little easier because there's less chance of them colliding. We also didn't talk about a 1 beat, so let's just do a 1 beat real quick. Just row your boat. On the side it's here. So also drawing a circle. If I hold it in the middle, I'm just trying to draw a circle. I'm holding it towards the end. I might be drawing a circle bigger on one end, smaller on the other. Do that on both sides, so they're not in the center at the same time. Or do it at the same time. We're doing a butterfly and have one land higher. Tuck them and circle them. And then 2 beat weave. Okay, so one goes out, then the other goes out. And then we can start doing our lands to get our 4. And then just like with our poi, our cardinal direction spin. So as we're doing our overhand this way, it comes down and raises. We switch directions. And now we're doing an underhand. When it lands, we switch. Overhand. Land, switch, underhand. And we can keep the staff momentum going while spinning through the directional planes. Doing those 2 beat transitions high and low while rotating. And keeping that planar direction and cardinal direction of the staff and its inertia going. Once we start getting those rotations going, we can start doing that with 2. Matching each other, splitting each other, coming into drop beats. So we understand our locations, where we are at any given time, where that location can move to. And then shifting and spinning inside of it. And because we practice both sides and all perspectives of the spins when we were still, as we move, the perspectives are changing, but we know how to operate in that space because we honed that space into our practice and understanding. One last thing is practicing stationary grip. So when we're doing it, That's where I learned the different tucks, was by not letting go. Because when you let go, you are giving your bodies an opportunity to break its actual movement pattern and where it could go from its current position. You're able to go somewhere completely new. So it's a great thing to use. You can do hand passes, getting into the juggling, start doing contact where it's on your body. Rolls and calls to hands. So it starts slipping off your shoulder. You can call it back to your hand. Assisted contact, where you're using your arm to guide it through its action. So you can start learning where it feels stationary. Straight tosses, no rotation, rainbow tosses, rotations, where you're popping it up in this J-like fashion, and then catching the J, taking it into spins. But when we practice these firm hand holds, when we have two, we have a little bit more understanding of the different potentials of where we can wind to and unlock to before we do a release, before we do a hand swap, before we move into another pattern. We're stacking and rotating, where we're counter weaving. Okay, and the hand swaps allow to get out of sticky binds and situations with ease, and the non-hand swaps let you learn what that situation might call for and the directionality of how you can get out of it. So experiment with both, play with both. That way when you're with two, you really have your full capacity of motion before you start letting go of the different staffs. And then one last little trick with learn first with flower staffs, flower sticks. It's a cross balance. And then we can start rotating with it, letting our body start the action. Then we can raise it up, grab it with the other hand, bring it back down, let it go by, and come into the body. Spin it the other way, up, round, stay. So whenever you're rotating, it's not rotating. And then if I stop, it starts rotating in perspective to me. And then we can let it go and do it a little bit faster. We can not do it with a hand swap, just let it roll around to the other side of the wrist and then back around. See if we can get that on the other hand. So a little assist there. Back around. Assist there. Left hand's not as great at that move. Show it again here. Gotta do it a little bit faster. Trying to show it slow for y'all. Duck, dodge, dive and weave. experiment and see where you can go. Those first weaves are just the starting grounds to give yourself perspective and awareness within the spins of the different props. From there, it's about your distinctions, your interpretations, your paths that you discover. You can definitely learn paths that people have found. And a lot of the moves that people do are great. I love that one. A little double toss weave. Once you learn how to interweave and you learn how to toss and catch, you can start doing single rotations. And then you can do full weaves through it. So it's amazing to watch and learn and observe what other people have found and discovered. But there's plenty more to discover. And as you practice, learn, think, and create for yourself, sure, you might create things that others have already identified and name them your own way. But that's wonderful. It's co-creation. We're all finding a similar path. And then through those discoveries, through the practiced knowledge from other people, you too can start learning your own moves, show them and share them with the world, or keep them in your interpersonal collection of movements for yourself. Hope you enjoy this pathway of staff. Pass the torch, share the knowledge. Hope you do. Love you. Stay tuned.